All right, people. Welcome back to the worst produced Elliott Wave video on YouTube or on the internet. It's the Bullwaves weekend video update, and thanks for getting involved this week, and thanks for watching. And hey, before I completely stall, I'll just get straight into what I'm decent at, which is not talking on a video. I'm going to go through the markets from the 4 hour down to the 1 hour, and we'll take a backwards look and see if we can figure out what unravel what's gone on this week, and maybe make some predictions for next week. All right, so this is euro dollar, and we're on the 4 hour chart. We're tracking this 5 wave down, which has now completed at last week's low. What was that? On the 15th, the 15th of August. And now we're tracking, that was wave 1 in blue, and now we're tracking wave 2. The initial target for wave 2 was around the 117.50, which was the previous 4th wave. It can go higher because, well, we have all the way up to 125.56. I don't think it'll go that far, but who knows the future? I certainly don't. Wave 2 is underway anyway at the moment, so we have wave A probably complete on at Thursday's high, and maybe wave B underway at the moment. So let's get down to the hourly chart, see how that's going on. Excuse me. There's my professionalism in one foul swoop. Okay, so that's the previous 4th wave there. That's the 117.50 or 45 initial target. I think we've got 5 waves up in A done. We could be working on an expanded flat B. We got a new high today. I'm still calling it a B wave because I think this initial move down counts best as a 3-wave pattern rather than a 5-wave pattern. So I still think we're working on a larger B wave, and that should bring us early next week. That should bring us down towards the 115 mark again, probably to complete that. I think the 50% retracement is probably more likely 114.60, in around there. So that's the ballpark for next week until we get this larger B wave in green complete, and then we'll work on rallying again in wave C. Seen as wave A is probably a 5-wave pattern. Wave C will probably be a 5-wave pattern again, and we're looking at, there's a whole lot of probabilities here, but we're looking at between 117.50 and 118.50 to complete that larger pattern, depending on the low of wave B. So that's euro dollar. Let's move on to pound dollar. Pound dollar has completed 5 waves down as well out of that previous a large flat wave 4, so we had a large degree flat wave 4 all the way off the 2016 low, the summer 2016 lows, and pound dollar rallied all the way into pretty much April this year. I think it was April 18. So 20 months of a rally, which brought us back to 143.75. And now I think we've got 5 waves down complete, which should begin the larger wave 4 or 5. Sorry. So we have either wave 1 of 5 or wave 1 of 1 of 5, depending on which way you want to look at it. Wave 1 complete. I think we're working on wave 2 right now, and the initial target for wave 2 lies at about 133, in or around there. Let's get to the hourly chart. You can see that 132.90 area is the previous 4th wave, so that's resistance, initial resistance. We also have that second wave, one degree lower second wave, so that's another potential target there. If we have wave B complete at today's low, that would be a move off today's low, so the possibility that wave B in brown is complete, so we could be working on wave C at the moment. So that parallel trend channel gives us about 130.80 to complete an ABC correction. So that's what we'll be working on next week. Short-term target about 130.80 to complete a wave 2. So let's move on to dollar yen. Dollar yen is kind of between two posts at the moment. I've shown a larger degree second wave, probably a running flat completed at this week's low, but there's also the possibility that this is a 1-2 pattern shown in the alternate count there. So the recent low is pretty important in that sense. That recent low is at 109.76 is the hourly chart. And we were looking for a 5-wave pattern up off that. It looks like that we're getting there. Today we had a little pip above the 111.43, and that's what we're kind of looking at to give us a confirmation that a possible wave 1 was beginning. We've got a little corrective decline underway off that today's high, so we could be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 complete, and we'd look for a further rally in wave 5, and that would give us 5 waves up. We'd look for 3 waves down. That would give us an Elliott Wave signal in dollar yen, and we could be off to the races after that. But we'll have to play it by ear next week, just to day by day to see how that pans out. Okay, so this is stocks. That's the 30-minute chart. We'll go for the 4-hour chart. Still looking at a completing second wave at 1 higher degree. So wave 1 down into the February lows, a large A running flat wave B, and 5 waves in wave C. So it's a 3-wave, 3-wave, 5-wave pattern. So it's a flat correction again in wave 2. And we're definitely, I keep thinking we're near the end of this interminable correction, but we're right back at the wave A highs. We have an internal pattern pretty much complete. We're just looking for that initial turn down again. And like I keep mentioning to you guys, the signals here, the momentum signals at this high are horrendously bad on the 4-hour chart. So I think the turn down is inevitable, and it is soon. So I'm expecting it quite soon. Let's get to the hourly chart on this one. As you can see, I have my charts all prepared, ready and waiting, as usual. And that's the 3rd wave high back in the 27th of July. So I was looking at a 3-wave pattern off that. There's also another way of looking at the recent action. Well, I think I'll leave that for tonight's written update. I'm actually recording this video before I do the written update, so some things might change in my thought processes as I write. So you tend to think clearer when you write anyway, rather than when you talk. I think that's just the way the human mind works. When you actually write something down, it tends to make more sense to you, or let's say it's a more refined thought process. You're using your slow thinking brain rather than your fast thinking brain. So anyway, enough of that. Enough of the way the human mind works. We haven't broken that recent high, which was on Wednesday, I believe, was it? 21st, Tuesday. So I'm calling that tentatively a wave 3. It could also be wave 5, but the move down off that high is pretty corrective at the moment, unless we get a sharp move down on Monday, and that'll kind of rejig this short-term pattern off that high. So far, I think we're working on 5 waves of wave, on a 5th wave of wave 5, of wave C, of wave 2. So you can see how far along the pattern we are on this one. So again, early next week, we work with each piece, nugget of information that we receive, and then we'll go from there. So next week I'll be kind of focusing on completing a 5-wave pattern in wave 5 green. Okay, so let's move on to gold. Gold has been good to us today. We're looking for a complete fourth wave and a move up in wave 5. And we had a little overnight decline in gold and then an early morning rally. So we've broken the previous wave 3 high. It looks pretty conclusive in my bullish mind that we have 5 waves up complete. I would prefer to see a break of the previous fourth wave there at 1217, and that was always the kind of the focus for the last couple of weeks, was that previous 1217 high. So I really would like to see a break of that before turning, uber bullish altogether. But the fact that we're looking at 5 waves up and we should see a 3-wave decline next week, that would give us a good signal for a possible end of the endless corrective decline and the start of a new kind of chapter in gold. Okay, so let's move on to crude oil. Crude oil again has rallied quite powerfully, and it's opened up another possibility for an alternate count. So this larger wave 2 could be part of an expanded flat. If we break the previous high there at, what was it, about $70, if we break $70 again, we'll probably call this a larger 1-2 pattern with an expanded flat. But I do like the idea of a descending wedge there as a 5-wave pattern down. We shall see. Go to the ROI chart, and you can see that's the previous wave 2 3-wave pattern. It's kind of betwixt and between at the moment. With this evening's decline again, we were looking for that 5th wave to come in, and we did get that 5th wave. We hit the previous high labeled wave 2 there. So it does fit both interpretations quite well. I mean, we could easily call this a running flat wave 2 high, and I will put that in as my alternate count right now. So there we are. We could call that 3, 3, and 5 to complete a running flat. I like the fact that we've got a decline again this evening. On a Friday evening decline opens up the possibility for further declines on Monday. So that's what I'll be watching next week, is to see if we get a downside signal in crude again to open up a 3rd wave decline in a possible 3rd wave decline in crude, and it could also be a 3rd of the 3rd wave. So that'll be one to watch out for in crude, and obviously nobody expects it right now, so it's the perfect moment for that. Okay, let's move on to the S&P. Again, the S&P created a new high this week, above the previous January high. So we had a larger 5th wave complete. The S&P always suited the idea of a triangle over the last 6 months, better than the Dow did, because it didn't make a new low in, I think, was it April. So we have a 5-wave triangle, wave 4, and I think we're pretty damn close to 5 waves up again in wave 5. This could extend higher. We'll watch that over the coming weeks. If this extends higher, then we'll have a pretty glaring divergence between both Dow transports and the Dow Jones itself and the S&P diverging higher, and I think the Nasdaq as well. But we've got a bifurcated market at the moment. So I like that word. I like the way I work that one in there. We've got a kind of a schizophrenic market at the moment. And I have some charts in tonight's update that I think you'd be quite interested as well in, which it has pretty dire consequences for the economy in the States. But I'll leave that for the tonight's update on the site. Okay, so the 4-hour chart shows a completing wave 3, 4, and 5 of 5 of 5. So let's get down to the hourly and see how that's going. All right, come on, get with it, Linda. Get with it. I should slap myself in the face, really. Okay, we have here's wave 5 of 5. So we're working on wave 5 of 5 of 5 of 5, and I'm not repeating myself just to sound comical there. I'm repeating myself to show the degree at which these stock market patterns are closing out right now. So it's something to be very aware of, the extended patterns and the diverging economic fundamentals, as I will go into in tonight's update. But we have a possible 5th wave. We have a nice trend channel here. We have an upper target there at the trend channel. I don't think we'll get there, to be honest, at 2,900. Can always be wrong on that one, but we have a 5-wave pattern, a triangle here over the last few days. So that suggests a 4th wave. So a 4th wave with the foot, which would be followed obviously by a 5th wave, and this 5th wave would usually tend to equal the previous wave 1. So the previous wave 1, we're actually probably close enough to matching the length in points of the previous wave 1 in here. If we go down to the 30-minute chart, I'll probably be able to pull that out a little bit better. Let's get a little line on that. You can see that the previous wave 1 would have been projected to about 28.79. So we're within an earshot of that 28.79 today. That could easily be wave 1 of 5 as well. Also, so if we do extend higher, that's what's happening next. If we do if we do extend higher next week, that's probably what's happening. It's wave 5 gray is extending into a 5-wave pattern. So that's what we have to work with, really, with an upper target of about 2,900. But again, we're at the end of this freight train. We ain't got much longer to go on this one, so smoke them if you got them, eh? Alrighty, so that's the S&P. Let's go to silver. Silver here, it's a possible wave 1 and 2 up. The fact that we rose again today is good. It's in favor. Computer, it's in favor of the current count, but it did take its time. Gold has run ahead of it in the formation of a 5-wave pattern up, and we haven't got that in silver yet. So I'll have to wait for next week to see if we do get a run higher in silver. Obviously, if gold does complete a bullish Elliott Wave signal, it will suggest that silver will probably follow it in a short time anyway. So silver is one to watch. We've got a small higher low, and we've got a nice spike higher today again. So it could be a 3rd wave rising in silver at the moment. Again, I do want to see the completion of a larger 5-wave pattern up, followed by a corrective decline to give us an Elliott Wave signal. So that is silver. It's kind of one to watch for next week, really, along with gold. So this is a US note. This is a 10-year note. We've been following this triangle here in a wave 4 for a while now, and looking for a completion of that triangle below 121. And the hourly chart is showing, well, declines today, but they're less than ideal at the moment. I do, again, like the opposite of the metals. I want to see a larger 5-wave pattern to the downside to give us a signal that this triangle has in fact closed out. If that triangle doesn't end up, if this triangle ends up breaking and we get a break above 121, it'll just alter the pattern in wave 4 slightly. That would kind of involve wave A and then a triangle wave B and then a wave C. So either way, the this kind of sideways pattern in Treasuries is likely to continue even if the current pattern is broken. So for next week in Treasuries, I would like to see, well, I want to see the triangle hold, obviously, because that's what we've worked so hard on for a while now. So I want to see a larger 5 waves down begin to give us kind of heads up for the future for notes, for 10-year notes. Okay, so that's the 5 markets. I ran through that quite quickly, or sorry, 9 markets. Thanks for watching. We will see you subscribers on Monday evening, and have a great weekend, everybody. Godspeed. Have a good one. Bye-bye.